Alright, in this I'm going to be demonstrating and explaining how to use the Green Lantern Power Battery from the War of Light set. There's been a lot of confusion about this, and I've had some people asking me about a better explanation for how to use it, so I'm going to try to clarify that a little bit. I'm going to start off with the card here. If you get online to hcrealms.com in their unit section, you can follow along with me. First off, force construction. It's part up at the top here. The power battery must be assigned a power ring, one of these guys, and 1 to 6 distinct constructs, which would be these folks right here. The power battery itself costs 2 points, plus the combined cost of the assigned power ring and constructs. It has to have a minimum of 16 points. So, the battery itself costs 2, the rings cost 4 to 8, and then the constructs cost anywhere from 4 to 8 as well. You need a minimum of 16 points, though. So in this example, we've got our constructs lined out here. We're going to be using the Green Lantern ring, which is 8 points. The battery itself is 2. We've got crossbow, decoy, net, shield, catapult, and mallet for a grand total of 56 points. At the beginning of the game, the first thing you do is place the rings, or you place the ring in the battery like so, up top here. And then you attach the constructs to the little slots here on the side of the battery. Problem with that is they don't fit very well, and they don't stay in. So anytime you try to pick up the battery or move it, they're going to fall out. So what I did was I made myself a little index card here with the numbers, so I can just place them on this card at the beginning of the game. There are effects that refer to which slot the construct is in, which is why the numbers are important. And unfortunately, the slots on the battery itself are not labeled. So, core members. That's the second paragraph here, if you're following along. When a friendly character has any construct on its card, it is called a core member and assigned the power battery. So until you've actually assigned... Let me scoot that off to the side here and get John Stewart out here. Until you've actually assigned a construct to a character on your team, they are not considered assigned the power battery. That's very important for people like Marvel 10th Anniversary Iron Man and stuff like that. So until you've actually done that, they're just hanging out. Friendly core members can use the ability of the construct on their card and the ability of the power ring attached to the power battery. If a friendly core member is KO'd, attach any constructs on its card back on the power battery. And if the power battery itself is KO'd, all constructs are removed from friendly core members' cards. So if John Stewart here got KO'd and he had the net, that would just go back on the power battery. No points would be scored for it, and you'd be able to use it on your other figures. Setup. That's the third paragraph down here if you're following along. During the beginning of the game, the power battery is placed in 4 squares of clear terrain in your starting area. The power battery affects line of fire, can use its powers and abilities, is damaged and KO'd as if it were a character. However, for any other purposes, it is not a character. You can see it's got a dial here. You probably can't see terribly well, but you'll notice that it is a colossal. That's very important for a couple reasons. Number one, line of fire. You can see over smaller characters. And also, it allows the battery to use colossal stamina. You'll also notice that the battery does not actually have a listed range. Its range is equal to the click number it's on, which goes from 1 to 20, I believe. Let's see here. The power battery. Okay, characters, objects, and blocking terrain may not occupy the same squares as the power battery. Power battery is immediately KO'd when the last friendly character is defeated. So when the last person on your team is taken out, power battery is also KO'd and scored. All right, if you flip over to the inside of the card, up at the top left here, attacking the power battery. If it is adjacent to an opposing character, let me grab this guy real quick. So if an opposing character is adjacent to the power battery, or within its range and line of fire, so for example, this guy has a range of 10, so if he were up to 10 squares away and within line of fire, the enemy character can be given a power action to roll 2 dice 6 and add their attack value. If the result is equal to or higher than the power battery's defense value, the power battery takes damage equal to the printed damage value minus 2. So he has a damage value of 4, so if he successfully hit the battery would take 2 damage. This ability cannot be ignored, which means if you, for example, if you were to pulse wave, you would not be able to do damage straight to the battery. You'd still have to go through the steps listed here. Battery powers. It's right here. The dial of the power battery indicates certain special powers that it can use in the star slot, which is the top left there, if you can see. If you look closely there, you can see that there is currently a 1 with a circle in there. Let's see if I can get into focus. Nope, okay. There is a 1 with a circle in it, which corresponds to a power listed down here. There are 6 numbered powers in total, and obviously you can only use the ones that are showing, but as the dial turns, those powers are going to change. The battery has a couple traits. Permeate the universe, I mentioned that earlier. Its range is equal to its click number. And the emotional spectrum ability, which that varies between the power batteries. And that says when the power battery, the attached ring, and all of the constructs attached to it are all the same color, you get a special effect. In this case, for green, each opposing character may be given no more than 1 free action per turn, which means if an opposing character were to use Perplex, they could not be given that character could not be given any other free actions during this turn, which means they couldn't use Running Shot, Hypersonic, Charge, etc. It also means that if they were to use Running Shot and make the free attack, they then could not use Perplex or Outwit. One thing to note, PC is not, or probability control is not considered an action, so it is not affected by the emotional spectrum ability. All right, the 1 power, which is the first one showing here on the power battery's dial, use a construct. Give the power battery a power action. Place an attached construct on a friendly character's card that is not already a core member. That's very important. So, for example, Mr. John Stewart here, if he does not already have a construct on his card, he is not a core member. So we give the power battery a power action. We're going to take off one of the constructs from the card, and we're going to place it on his card. Now, he can use the benefits of the crossbow, range combat expert in this case, and he is considered a core member, which means he also gets the benefit of the ring. And the ring's card will indicate what benefits those are. Now, since he already has one of these, he cannot be given another construct with the use of that first power. This is another important part. Up here under battery powers, once per turn, when it is given an action to use one of these special powers and actions resolve, you can roll a d6 that cannot be re-rolled, deal the power battery half of the result as unavoidable damage. Now that sounds kind of bad, but the abilities get better as you crank the click number up. So usually you want to use that as quick as you can because it gets you up to the better stuff. And since it increases the click number, it will also increase the battery's range. Additionally, the character will the power battery will take pushing damage as a character, including colossal stamina, so you can continue to use it turn to turn. The 2 power, which shows up in a few clicks. If you look online at hcrealms.com, you can see the entire dial of the battery, so you can see when these powers show up. Swap a construct. Give the power battery a free action. Exchange a construct between 2 friendly core members cards, or the power battery and a friendly core members card. So, we'll go ahead and we'll pull in Guy Gardner over here. And let's say that he has the shield attached to him, and John Stewart, let me get these better into focus. There we go. Let's say that John Stewart has the crossbow attached to him, and Guy Gardner has the shield attached to him. If that 2 is showing on the power battery, I can give it a free action and exchange these 2 constructs. Alternatively, I could take a construct off of one of these guys, put it back on the battery, take one off the battery, and put it back on him. And since that is the use of one of the powers, I could then roll a d6 to do half the amount in unavoidable damage if I wanted to. The 3 power, which continues up here at the top right, form a construct. Give the battery a power action, remove a construct from it, and replace it with a construct from outside the game up to 2 points higher than the one removed. This is if you start off the game with your regular constructs and you decide halfway through, I could really use X. Let's say a decoy, for example. So you can give the battery a power action. I could remove the mallet, and I could attach the decoy to the battery. Now, important to keep in mind here, that has to be a construct on the battery itself, not on one of the friendly core members, which is where that 2 came in. For example, if I wanted to get rid of the net, I could swap that out with a free action, and then give the battery a power action to swap these out. There's a couple of stipulations here. If the new construct is a lower point value, this is a free action instead of a power action. If the new construct is a higher point value, it's a double power action rather than a regular power action. So if if the new construct is less points, free action. If they're the same points, power action. If it's higher points, double power action. The 4 power, share a construct. Give the power battery a free action and roll a d6 that can't be re-rolled. If a construct is attached to the power battery in the slot indicated by the result, all friendly core members can use the ability of that construct until your next turn. This is where these numbers come into play. So, for example, we have the crossbow on slot 3, we have the catapult on slot 1, and the mallet on slot 2. So I would give the power battery a free action, roll a d6, and if it showed up as one of those 3, or any other number that still has a construct on it, anyone on my team assigned a construct can also use the benefits of that one until my next turn. So we already have the decoy and the shield assigned. If I were to roll a 6, that means they could also use the benefits of the crossbow. Number 5, master constructs. Give the power battery a free action, place an attached construct on a core member's card. Now the important part there is on a core member's card, which means that even though Guy Gardner already has a construct, when the 5 power is showing, I can assign him a second construct. That is the only way to do that. Other than that, because the 1 power that we mentioned earlier can only give constructs to non-core members. So that allows you to double up on constructs. And the 6 is the final power, improved constructs. Friendly core members modify their combat values by +1 for each construct on their character card. This is where the 5 comes even more handy, because Guy Gardner has 2 constructs on his card, so he would modify all of his combat values by +2. And then we have other powers that the battery can use outside of the constructs. That's barrier there. It's not very clear, but it's blue on defense. It has a special damage power, recharge your ring. The power battery can use support as if it had an attack value of 10. So it's back here in your starting area. If Guy Gardner was hurt and he managed to get back there, I could use support with the power battery. And then continuing on to the back page, we have Perplex, Outwit, and Probability Control, which show up throughout the entire dial. And again, those are a minimum range of 6, but they also use the range of the power battery, which is equal to its click numbers. So once you get it up there around 10 or 12 or 14, that becomes a serious factor in the game. I believe I've covered all of the high points of using the power battery. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know.